Here's the rotary index I made. Got the lathe chuck for it, made a plug for the end. Had some issues. Uh, this drive wouldn't work. It's a TB6600 for whatever reason, would not work with the Arduino. So I ended up going to the DM 542T. This does not have a 200 pulse setup, so I had to go to 400. And so I had to actually tell the Arduino that it's 400 pulses. Otherwise, 90 degrees would give me 45 degrees. It wasn't working right. I'm driving the stepper separately with 36 volts. All I'm doing with the Arduino is sending the signal, and it's got its own power supply. So I've just got the 3 wires. If you go to liming.org, liming.org, he's got the kind of the how-to and the link to the software. There's a lot of different issues. I had issue with display. Apparently I had a knockoff display that was incompatible with his and his software or firmware or whatever. And I don't know what the deal was, but I have bins full of Arduino stuff here, so I just grabbed another one out of the bin. And I use these extended, and I'll probably take them out, just for now. Just it makes it easy to put it together. It's kind of a simple. They're $1 for a couple of boards, so they're very convenient to have around. So I have a lot of issues with this setup. For one, if you wanted to cut a 23 tooth gear, you're not going to be able to. You can't do any odd decimal increments of angle. It's all going to be even increments, just even in your divisions are very awkward. And I've gone all the way up to 720, so that would be like half degree increments, and it's working backwards in how you'd want it to work. So I'm not sure why it's set up this way. Maybe I'm missing something here. I'm not even sure why there's temp sensors, why you would even care what your stepper, motor temp, or air temp was around here, but maybe some people do. I've never had an issue. This is the first real Arduino system I put together, and frankly, I'm kind of thinking I wasted my time here. If you look and you go down, you've got your temp. What's nice, the ratio, you can change that in the settings. I've got 60:1, but you can do 30, you can do 120. You can set the increments to whatever you want, but I've got it set at 60 as the default, and that's what I have. You can jog, and it's kind of sad because the jog, you can't speed it up. You can only slow it down. So if I want to jog, here we go. I'm sorry, I'm backwards on there. Here, I'll go over this. There we go. So it does a pulse jog. So I apologize here. You can go up and down. I'll show you what I meant here in a second. Here, let's get out of that screen. I haven't had a lot of time to play with it, but enough. Okay, here we go. Speed. So here we go. You can't increase the speed. This is what I was talking about. So the continuous speed, you can change directions. And this is as fast as I can go. And I'm running 36 volts through. This should be flying right now. It should be going a lot faster than that. The software is limiting. And I'm sure there's some kind of pulse. I went through the software to see if I could adjust the pulse width or if there's some setting that I could increase the speed in, and there isn't. There might be if you get more defined into the code, and I'm not. I don't have any expertise there. It's not my forte. I've got a friend of mine. I'm gonna have to take a look at it. So you can only slow it down. So I can go to ridiculously slow, which could be useful if you're you know, depending on what you're making, could be very useful. So you can go back to 0, but you can't increase that speed, and you can't stop it either. You can only change the direction. So you should be able to stop by hitting the same button, and it doesn't do that. I don't know. So there's a few things. You got to basically hit select to get them back out. It's got a few weird things with it. So if you go to run, you hit select, just hitting that bottom button without even slowing it down will make it move right away. Okay, you hit select to stop it. Hit select to bring it back into the screen. So any of these 4 buttons will make it go. And I think one of these, I'm not sure what defaults the direction, if it's the last direction that you went. Let's see here. It's confusing me because it's actually going the opposite direction that it should be. So that's something that can be changed in the software. So it should be turning left right now. It's turning right. I guess it depends on how you have it orientated on the mill too. So let's stop it. I'm going to hit one of the center buttons and see what happens. Okay, let's do it again with the bottom one. Oh, weird. That just did the same direction in all 4 of them. So it looks like it defaults to one direction every time. So it defaulted. So if I back out of this and I go back in and I hit this button here, it's going to go to the left. Back out of it, go back in, hit this button here. Look at it, it's going to the left. It should be going the other way. That's a hazard. So, I mean, from a safety standpoint, I won't even run this thing unless that's fixed. I'm not going to remember. It's going to do that all the time when I'm in the midst of working. I mean, this is a toy. This is in no way meant to be a reliable, safe method of use. I would really consider going more in depth into the software. I have a lot of questions about it and what could be done to make it a better. I mean, I think it has a lot of potential, you know. And then let's go back. Look at that. I just hit the select button, which I wanted to just back out, and it started turning. See, that's a problem. What if you have your tooling right there and you accidentally go into it and you just want to back out of it? You don't want it spinning around on you. That should not be happening. All right. See, that's a problem. That's a safety issue. All right. So we go into angle, and you want to pick your degrees. 5, 10, 20. Well, what if you want something in between? I can't choose nothing in between? What if I want 8 degrees? I don't have, there's no choice. I mean, really, this is just a toy. You can't use it for anything. If you're stuck to 5-degree increments, what's the point of it? You know, what if I want 15.64 degrees because I want to, you know, I want to cut a 23 tooth gear, so I need to stop at every 15.64 degree increment, you know, so I'd want to be, you know, the closest I can get. Jeez, is 15 degrees. Well, I'm not going to be able to cut the gear I want with that. So that's a problem. You know, I want to be able to go to that exact 15.64 degrees. Well, it's going to go to 15 degrees. Or longer, apparently. For some reason, yeah, something's wrong here. So there's quirks with this thing. I would not depend on it. I know other people are using it. I'm gonna contact. I believe his name is Brian Mumford. He makes a handheld unit, and he makes it for the Shoreline. And I've seen other guys use them on up to 10-inch rotaries. And I'm gonna see if his is Arduino based. See if I can buy the software off him, since I have to run a power setup separately. Otherwise, if I've got to buy his handheld, if he can make a modified version for me, because his does do the incremental degrees and has, I mean, his is fully functional, has a safety stop. So I would definitely look into the Mumford system, and hopefully it's not overly priced. You know, I've got $20 into this, but again, the safety and the functionality of it, and you know, the implementation is there, the idea is right, but it's basically an unfinished project. So that's my assessment of it. You can take it for what it's worth. Thanks for watching.